Good morning to my lovely dyslexic community. Today is the 30th of September and tomorrow begins Dyslexia Awareness Month 2025. And I am really excited about Dyslexia Awareness Month this year. Now, I talk about dyslexia awareness and raise awareness all the time, but actually this month I am digging deep. So I've got a question for you. Are you a dyslexic that has got untapped potential and is full of wasted talent? Because did you know that so many people with dyslexia don't even begin to scratch the surface of what they're capable of or fulfill their potential? And it's got nothing to do with their education, nothing to do with their upbringing, and nothing to do with money, but everything to do with mindset and confidence. Those are the things that distinguish between somebody that is a successful dyslexic and somebody that isn't a victim or a victor. And remember, when we're talking about dyslexic success, success is in the eye of the beholder, and success is going to look different to everybody. But I think the most important thing to consider is, are you feeling fulfilled? Are you a dyslexic who is feeling fulfilled and feeling feeling happy with what they're doing? Are you kind of living your dyslexic dream, or does dyslexia hold you back? Because the problem is, so many people with dyslexia are scared to be vulnerable. And in order to manage dyslexia really positively, really well, you've got to be vulnerable. You've got to be prepared to make mistakes, and you've got to be prepared to own your dyslexia. But the trouble is, we lose faith in ourselves. And the reason why we lose faith in ourselves is because society, if I'm really honest, doesn't understand what dyslexia really is. It hasn't got a handle on what it is, how it impacts. And people don't truly understand what dyslexia is. So what happens is, we as dyslexic people start to live up to the expectations around us that dyslexics are not clever, dyslexics can't achieve as much, and we almost become that self-fulfilling prophecy. Our ego kicks in. So the truth is, if you really want to manage dyslexia positively, nobody is going to do it for you. You have got to learn to take the action, whatever the action is, and it has to be you that feels in control of it. The truth is, you really can be anything you want to be if you're dyslexic. It just might take you slightly longer to get there, but you have to be resilient. You have to be brave enough to put yourself out there, dust yourself off, and get back up and keep going. And you have to know which action to take. You have to know the strategies to use. And in order to do that, you, as the dyslexic person, need to know how dyslexia shows up for you, how it impacts you, and what you need to do to move yourself forward. You've got to be prepared to do the work. You've got to be willing to make changes. You've got to be willing to be brave. You've got to be willing to accept your difference and work with it. And I know that when you do all of that, success is totally possible. And I know because I have experienced dyslexic success time and time and time again. Like I was experiencing dyslexic success before I even realized that I had a diagnosis of dyslexia. I had my secret weapon was resilience. If any of you read my book, Don't Forget to Smile, you'll know I talked a lot about that. But success is about, and kind of that resilience is about, when things go wrong, it's getting up and doing it in spite of, not instead of stepping back and playing small. And, you know, there have been so many times, particularly in the last 15 years since I've known my dyslexia diagnosis, but where I have literally got up and I've rewritten my story and I've gone, right, this is what dyslexia is going to look like for me now, and I'm going to rip the next layer off. Now, when it comes to managing dyslexia, there's definitely something to be said for it being kind of multi-layered, and it does show up differently in everybody, for sure. But actually, mindset shifts are the same for everybody, and it's about kind of lifting off those layers. And this Dyslexia Awareness Month, I'm going to make myself vulnerable, and I'm going to tackle my dyslexia head on again. And I want to kind of burst through that next level of visibility in terms of, and it's not even being visibility kind of in terms of a social media, but it's being brave enough to use the strategies that I know work in public, to develop those strategies and not mask as much. So what I realized is that actually, for me, dyslexic success came when I was brave enough to really turn up the dial and spend time kind of looking at those things that I was brilliant at before education put a cap on them, before education didn't value them anymore. So talking, my empathy, my connection with people, all of those things are super valuable. And no, there isn't a formal qualification in them, but trust me, they are really valuable skills. And they are one of the things, they are the foundation of my business, being able to read people, being able to understand people, being able to connect with people. Like for me, I have really learned what my strengths are, and I have massively turned the dial up on those. And I have built a whole career around that. And that is how I define myself. And tapping into those natural talents that the education system doled right down for me has really enabled me to kind of increase my confidence and own my dyslexia, fully own it. And you know, when I left my job in teaching to set up my own company, and I'm not even suggesting that it's as drastic as this right now. It could literally just be advocating for yourself in your workplace that actually you're going to touch type rather than handwrite the notes in a meeting. But for me, when I stepped out of my teaching job, I was a Senko, I was on the senior leadership team. When I stepped out of that job to set up my own business, people thought that I was bonkers. There was people on the sidelines watching, waiting for me to fail, because different is scary, different challenges, the norm, and people might not know how to deal with that. But for me, it was an opportunity to prove to people, to prove to society that actually dyslexic people can be super successful. Neurodivergent people can completely have success. And often our success is much sweeter when we're in control of it, when we have got full autonomy. So, 10 years ago now, I set up my own company, and I proved them wrong. And I flipped my dyslexic narrative from victim to victor. And I really want to help more of you do that. So as this Dyslexia Awareness Week, I plan to really kind of get back to basics with my dyslexia, really work out how it's showing up for me, really kind of hone down and drill into my skills. And I'm going to be sharing that with the Dyslexia Accelerator Pack. So across 31 days, I'm going to be sharing 31 ways that I manage dyslexia. So at the end of that 31 days, you will have a pack of strategies, resources, skills, things that you have thought about that are going to be able to help you move your dyslexia forward. But not only that, the other thing that is going to be super brilliant is the momentum that that's going to build. So you might have heard like the law of momentum. So really small steps add to like a bigger step, a bigger step, a bigger step. And what I'm going to be doing with my own dyslexia, and hopefully the people that follow along with me in the pack, is we are going to be building momentum, not only for us, because we're going to be rewriting our own stories, but we're also going to be rewriting the stories and leaving a legacy for future dyslexics. Because actually, if we can show society that actually dyslexics are not being difficult, they're not being awkward when they're asking for accessibility software. Actually, we're trying to find a way to be more efficient so we can up our game and we can be even more brilliant. Like if we can be brave enough to build the confidence to change that story, it's going to leave a legacy for future generations. So you're not only gaining momentum and changing your own story, you're going to be changing the story for people around you. And that makes me feel really, really proud. So if you have been thinking you want to come into my world, but you can't afford the one-to-one program, or you don't want to do the self-led boot camp, this is the program for you. It's £49 for the next 24 hours. From the 1st of October, it goes up to £59. And you can join me in the pack where I will be sharing a strategy, resource, tip, checklist, something every single day. I will be giving you an insight into how I have learned to manage my dyslexia in the last 10 years. And if stuff comes up real time, I'm going to share that with you. There's also going to be pop-up lives where you're going to be able to ask me questions about the content and let me know how it's going. And there's also an affiliate link because I really want to give back. So as much as, this is about me kind of gaining momentum and making sure that I'm really adding value to people. I want to have a bigger impact. I think the era of Joe helping everybody is over, in as much as I can't water support down anymore. Like, this is about, in order to make a real difference, I have got to make a decision on who I'm going to support. And I'm going to be supporting the people who are willing to invest in themselves, who want to go deeper than just the surface stuff. This is the next generation of Joe. This is my next decade. I've got a couple of years until I'm 50. But let's go for this. Let's 100% go for this. So if you do want to find out more about the accelerator or get in and join me, the link is in this YouTube video. But I'm not messing about anymore, not with my own dyslexia and not with what I'm putting out there into the universe. Like, I need society to know that people with dyslexia are capable. They are able. They are brilliant. It's all about finding the way that is right for us. And it's time for our dyslexic skills to be valued. Somewhere along the way, education has kind of dulled down and dampened down those brilliant dyslexic skills. And it's time for us to turn the dial back up on those people. We're going to do it. Anyway, I'm ranting and I'm preaching, but I cannot wait to start tomorrow. We've got 24 hours to go. There are lots of willing people in the pack already. So let's do this. It is time to flip that narrative and be rewriting the story of dyslexics everywhere. So big love, have a great day, and I will see you soon.